you're a teenager, you're not a fully developed human. Hi, thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope everyone is doing really well. A few weeks, months ago, I put out a video. It was a what I eat in a day / challenge video of me eating like myself when I was in high school. In that video, I did touch on the topic of eating disorders and preteen / teenage development. Today's video is a much more in-depth look at that connection between eating disorders and the development of humans, especially during their preteen and teenage years. I think it's like within the first 5 years of a child's life that those are like the most critical years for the development of who they're going to become when they're older. A child's brain is like a sponge at that young age, where it's just absorbing its experiences and its surroundings and its environment, and it's absorbing the interactions with people. And the brain is actually developing coping mechanisms, abilities to regulate emotion, ability to suppress emotion, suppress experiences. In some cases, children at young ages who experience trauma, their brains are actually developing in a way to protect them from that trauma, and they actually black it out, they suppress it, they like file it away so deep. This has happened to people that I know. They have memories. It doesn't feel like a normal memory. It almost feels like a dream they had once, but it's actually their brain. Those memories are coming to the surface. Some people that I know, they had no idea that they had been through such a traumatic experience, and then they're grown adults and all of a sudden. Anyway, that's a different story. Anyway, so the first 5 years are super critical in a child's life for their mental development. When a child becomes a preteen or a teenager and they start to go through puberty, it is a very critical time in their life, mentally, but also physically. All periods in a person's life, you need to be taking care of yourself, but extra care during those critical times of development, both emotionally, physically, mentally, all of that. There's a lot of changes that a person goes through during their puberty phase of their life. The only way for your body to go through any change like that, any development, is through proper feeding. Our bodies run off of the food we give it, the energy that we give it, the nutrients that we give it. It is our responsibility to our bodies, to ourselves, to feed ourselves properly so that our body can function according to how our body was designed to function. Like a switch gets turned on inside our bodies, and our body says, now I am ready to do this. I can do it. But you're not putting the food and the fuel in. So the body is trying to develop, but you are not giving it the proper fuel. So it is like trying to do it, but it might do it just very slowly. And in some cases, things just stop. So in the first 5 years, your brain actually is developing coping mechanisms. You're exhibiting those coping mechanisms gradually throughout your life, but those behaviors become very evident during those teen years. Hormone levels are up and down, and suddenly you're feeling things, you're expressing in ways you never thought you'd express. Those coping mechanisms are becoming very evident at that time. So this is the time where we should be taught healthy coping mechanisms, healthy behavioral strategies, healthy eating habits, so that we can create better habits for when we're an adult, when we're on our own. Teenage years is the time to be taught those things so that in later years we can exhibit those patterns. There have been cases of eating disorders developing, especially during puberty, because of the physical and emotional changes that are happening to the individual. You are changing into an adult. You are becoming a new person. And there's like Peter Pan syndrome, where you don't want to grow up. You want to be a kid forever. So if I keep my body like a child, I don't have to grow up. I know that might sound strange to people who have never experienced an eating disorder, but it's a very real thing. I know people who have done this. I probably am a a little guilty of it myself. We don't like the changes that are happening to us, and we want to stop them. We can't control the changes, so what's the easiest thing to do is control how we eat, how we exercise, how we take care of ourselves. As you're going through these big changes and you are now implementing unhealthy eating habits and exercise habits, and you are on a daily basis reiterating in your brain these negative feelings towards ourselves, and we are creating this self-hatred. These are learned patterns and behaviors that we are storing, and we are saying these are the coping mechanisms that we're going to use later in life. And that is why later in life, when you truly become an adult and you go out on your own, you have this repertoire of unhealthy behaviors, unhealthy coping mechanisms, unhealthy techniques, and the eating disorder grows and grows and grows, because that is what you taught yourself at crucial points in your life. During my teenage years, I had maybe 2 classes of nutrition education in my gym and conditioning class. I did not take a health class. I think that my conditioning class was supposed to be a health class. I don't know, because they didn't really teach us anything about health. What I recall from my nutrition lesson, something to do with the macros. I can't even tell you what it is they taught me, because I don't really know. All I know is I was really good at it because I'm good at math, and it just was a lot of math and numbers, and I'm good at that, and I enjoyed that. And then I learned how to count calories from that one lesson. My teacher didn't teach us how to count calories or anything like that, but it's not rocket science, it's kind of easy. So from that, I was able to start counting calories, and thanks a lot for that. Thanks for the lack of nutrition education. We were not taught what nutrients were. We were not taught what nutrients do, like vitamins, minerals. We didn't learn that. We didn't even learn what the macros, why they were so crucial, how they work together, why you need all 3, why you need calories. We weren't even taught why we need calories. You know what I was taught? I was taught lower calories, lose weight. That's what I was taught. Thanks a lot. Obviously, the education system, at least in America, is pretty flawed. There's a lot of areas that could be worked on. There is a severe lack of nutrition education, especially in high school. Students need to be taught why and how to eat properly. That is crucial information that is going to stick with them for the rest of their life. And it's important. It needs to be implemented for the rest of their life. If they aren't taught, and they are left to their own devices to figure it out on their own, they are going to be led to idiotic sources, and they are going to be taught horrible eating habits and horrible behaviors when it comes to health and nutrition. And there needs to be a proper program in place, a required program in place for preteens and teens to learn this stuff by an actual nutritionist or a dietitian or someone qualified. So what happens when a eating disorder creeps up and is developed during these important years? You lose the ability to trust your body. Instead of trusting your body and your own hunger and fullness cues, and trust that a craving is not the end of the world and it's okay to eat that craving, you trust the eating disorder. Later in life, if you so choose, and I hope everyone does, you choose to recover, you no longer can trust the eating disorder. You never really could. It really wants to just kill you. So you never really should trust it. You're going from trusting the eating disorder to trusting nothing. You have to relearn how to trust yourself. Trust that your body wants to take care of you. The eating disorder wants to kill you. Your body wants to keep you alive. So you have to learn something that should have been taught to you in the first place, but you weren't taught it. So you have to kind of learn it on your own to be like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I think this is fullness. I think this is hunger. It's a little bit of a guessing game at first, but eventually you do learn to trust your body again. It is a skill that is taken for granted. The idea of trusting your body's cues, trusting that your body is going to take care of you, I knew very little about. I wouldn't even say it's a concept that I understood. And it just took reading and reading and reading and just hammering the same idea into my head over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until it was trust your body, trust your body, trust your body. And it's like, okay, it's very overwhelming, but okay. And then eventually you just start to trust your body. Physically and mentally telling yourself to trust your body to it just happens. Your organs feed off of what you feed your body. Your organs can start to deteriorate. They can start to slow in functionality. They can even completely stop because you're not feeding yourself. Body and your organs are one. You are one unit. You have to feed that unit. If you are not feeding that unit, it stops working. Teenage years, puberty, hormones, they go hand in hand. Your hormone production centers cannot run unless you put fuel in the tank, okay? Any sort of form of eating disorder. Your body has to choose at that point what's more important. Hormone production, keeping your heart beating. Your body is like always gonna choose keeping you alive. Even if that means that it has to lay off something else and say, that's not important right now. We need to focus and we need to take all this energy that you are giving me. We need to focus and we need to put that into keeping you alive. When your hormone levels are not the way they should be, depending on the hormone, it can develop into mental disorders. It can develop into physical disorders. It can develop into a whole plethora of things, and that's not good. When you aren't feeding your body, you aren't feeding your brain, which means your ability to think straight, your ability to think logically becomes compromised. This can lead to a whole array of mental illnesses, mental disorders, such as body image dysmorphia, which is not a picnic at all, depression, bipolar disorder, insomnia, just to name a few. When you can't think straight, you can't view yourself straight. It's very difficult to see yourself the way you truly are when your brain isn't working at full capacity. An eating disorder during developmental periods of your life, you are creating a poor relationship with food, with eating, with others, and with yourself. You're teaching yourself poor coping mechanisms, and you're teaching yourself poor emotional management. Eating disorders don't just happen. Something triggers it. And a lot of teenagers are embarrassed. Actually, a lot of people are embarrassed to admit to whatever that triggering thing was. It could be emotions, it could be trauma, it could be a whole lot of things. And a lot of teenagers, unfortunately, stay hidden. They keep those things buried deep, deep down. And that equals denial because you are not acknowledging or addressing it. And that needs to change. There needs to be some sort of reliance on others. And by isolating yourself and falling deeper into whatever the issue is, you are pushing others away. Relationships with others is probably one of the strongest and best things you can use in your fight to defeat the eating disorder. I don't know what the solution really is. It starts with parents. It then falls to teachers. And then it falls to ourselves. It's really important that we have some sort of groundwork in place. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you did not like this video, you can give it a thumbs down. That is cool too. I don't mind. It's okay. Whatever. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe and be sure to hit the little bell so you are notified of all future uploads. If you have any comments, questions, video suggestions, anything at all, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I try to post every single day, and I almost always have an Instagram story of what I'm eating every single day, so follow me over there, and I will see you next time. Bye!